Hey, welcome back. This is going to be a sitting down video where I'm just kind of talking to you. I say to you, but for me I'm talking to a camera and it feels kind of weird. Today I wanted to be speaking about my time in India, and there were 10 things that really surprised me when I went there. These are, you know, when you think of India, you think of these romantic notions of, oh, it's a very spiritual place, so different, colourful, amazing. Yes, it is all of those things, but there are just some things that I wasn't quite prepared for. Let me go into them. So one of the things that I found really surprising when I went to India, this is actually the biggest thing that shocked me the most. There were cows everywhere. And when I say everywhere, they were in people's houses, they were walking down just normal public paths, they were walking down tiny streets, they would be blocking the streets so you couldn't get past, people wouldn't touch them. It would get to the point where they'll be in the middle of the road just eating food and just laying down there and just chilling in the middle of the busiest road. They'll be laying down, eating and chilling, and nobody would bat an eyelid. Everybody thought it was normal and they would just go around it and go about their day like normal. It's because they see cows as sacred there. They won't eat them. They really enjoy their milk. There's milk everywhere. This brings me on to my next point actually. This is another thing that I was very surprised by. When I was traveling around India, I thought to myself that it would be really easy to get vegan food because they're mostly a vegetarian country, right? That is not true. That is so not true. They have milk and ghee in absolutely everything. And you think, oh, this dish must be vegan. It has no dairy products, like, you know, dal. You think, ah, that must be vegan. Wrong again. They use ghee to cook with, and ghee is clarified butter, basically. So they use that to cook with everything, and it's a nightmare. If you are vegan and you are going to India, I do highly recommend you do a lot of research before you go. Going on to my third point, you're constantly being ripped off. People are always trying to sell you something. They see your skin colour and instantly they're like, oh, you're a white person, you are rich, and I am not rich by any stretch of means. They will try and sell you some stuff, they won't leave you alone. They bug you and they bug you. They try charge you over the top ratings, a price. They do it with taxis, tuk-tuks, everything. Really do your research on what the standard rates are, especially for taxis and especially for tuk-tuks. You should be able to work it out and call them out on their bullshit, basically. This is especially true if you are in a hot tourist spot or destination, so just be wary. So my fourth point, this is about tuk-tuks. You'll be walking down a street, right? And I'm not even kidding you, you'll be asked if you want a tuk-tuk. Maybe you'll walk about 10 minutes and you'll probably be asked if you want a tuk-tuk maybe 200 times. Every single tuk-tuk you will come past, they'll be like, tuk-tuk, tuk-tuk, and that's all you can hear. And then they will literally beep at you and try and get your attention in every which way possible. The only way around this, because it does get really annoying, especially when you have all that noise going on. The only tip that I can give you if you're going to India is basically look them in the eye and be like, no. And after that they will leave you alone, but you need to acknowledge them and you need to say no. So I really recommend you do that. At the end of the day, they are human beings and they are just trying to earn themselves a living. So I do understand it from that point, but when you're walking down the road and you're asked literally 200 times whether you want a tuk-tuk or not, it does really get on your nerves and it really tests your patience. So, just saying. There's trash everywhere. There's rubbish everywhere. I was not expecting how bad. No, actually, it doesn't even just extend to trash and rubbish. It extends to the amount of filth and pollution that there is, especially in New Delhi. Let's start that point again. Let me start again. This isn't about trash or just rubbish. This is the general hygiene of India in total. So when they speak about Delhi belly, it's true. I've never gotten it myself. I think it's because I'm vegan, I wasn't able to eat as much street food or experience Indian food as much as I could have. But I did get ill. I think I got some kind of flu or something when I was there. I think this place is just so intensely dirty and polluted, and there's so much trash everywhere, especially in New Delhi. So when I say about pollution, it's so thick. When they say you should wear a mask and buy a specialty mask, they're not kidding. They really are not. You wake up the next day after being in New Delhi and it feels like you physically smoked 100 cigarettes. Your voice is hoarse, you get really puffy skin, you have bags around your eyes. I could feel the heaviness in my lungs and the chest. I can't explain to you how bad this pollution issue is. Actually, no, I can. Basically, when you measure the pollution in New Delhi, it's so polluted that the device you measure pollution on cannot read it anymore because it hits max and then it goes up further. So we can't accurately read it because the pollution is literally off the charts. So I recommend if you go to India, please, please, please wear a gas mask. Doesn't matter how stupid you look. And then it goes on further from there. So it stinks there, like it really, really smells. And I'm not the kind of person to be freaked out by dirt or smells or grimy stuff in general. It's just not who I am. I was the kind of kid who'd go and play in the mud. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal for me. I'm not a germaphobe by any means. But I was the kind of person to use hand sanitizer every 10 minutes when I was there. Like, it was really bad, especially in New Delhi. There was this one river where we were staying, and this one river smelled so bad. There was all the raw sewage running through this river, and on top of that, the heat intensified it and almost fermented it, as bad as it sounds. The smell is so vile, you cannot walk past there without holding your nose. I was holding my nose. My partner, he said, don't do that, maybe you'll seem rude, because we come from a privileged country where we don't have to deal with this. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna hold my nose. I don't want to appear like I'm being rude or anything like that. And just as I took it away from my nose, I saw somebody coming up the opposite way, and they had their hand over their nose, and they were Indian, and obviously, I don't know if they lived there, but they were holding their nose. And I just thought to myself, well, if they can do it, then I can. I cannot deal with this. This is so disgusting. And they have a habit of peeing in the streets. Like every 100 yards or so, you get a really strong stench of piss. Ugh. This is just something I didn't expect. When you look at these beautiful travel vlogs, you see none of that. They managed to be able to paint this beautiful picture of India, but it's not quite like that. It's really not like that. There's trash everywhere you look. Even in the most remote places that you'll go to, there'll be trash there. Even when I went to North India. So you cannot escape it, and I think it's a huge, huge problem. But I was speaking to somebody about this, and they say that in the Indian culture they have this mindset of just throwing something on the ground as soon as it's used because it's seen as dirty, and you don't want to be associated with something dirty. It's to do with some kind of class status and their religion. I'm not entirely sure what the ins and outs of the thinking is, but that seems to be it. And in the past it wasn't a huge problem because their bowls and their plates and utensils would be made out of, you know, biodegradable materials, so they'd have terracotta pots or cups and use that to drink, one use, and they throw it on the ground. Done. Problem solved. They don't need to think about it. But that mentality is still prevalent even in today's society for them, because the introduction of plastic has been so sudden. That mentality hasn't had a chance to change yet, and the environment is really kind of suffering for it. So that was unpleasant to see. The noise in India is crazy. I've never been the kind of person to really been affected by too much noise. I've always been fine with it until I went to India. Oh my goodness, it's so loud. You're walking down the street and all you can hear is beep, 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 because it's just, there's no organised structure to this road, so the only way they can tell other people they're behind them is by beeping. And it's just kind of like, whoa, it becomes too much. It literally becomes too much. You have to think to yourself, okay, I need to get out here, I need to go somewhere quiet and just relax. But you can't, because there's nowhere where you can relax and there's no noise. It's impossible. It's just constant bombardment of and you're just kind of like, okay, I need to learn how to deal with this on the inner scale. You have to think to yourself, okay, it's just noise. I might go deaf from it a little bit, but you know, it's the inner chaos that it's creating. I need to learn how to kind of block it out like everybody else is able to do somehow. I don't know how, but they can. But you know what? So far, all I've spoken about India is really negative points. Regardless of all of that, I still would recommend anybody to go. It's an amazing clusterfuck of a place. I can't quite describe to you how crazy this place is and how far out of your comfort zone you will go, but you will grow so much as a human being, and you'll also notice a lot of good things about humanity just by going there. So for example, although you're being constantly ripped off by people, if you like speak to somebody without an agenda who aren't trying to weasel some money off you, generally Indian people and their culture are very forgiving people who are very, very nice. So me and my partner was going to go on to like the subway, and we had a couple of beers in our bag, and we hadn't realised we weren't allowed on the trains with beer. We had no idea, and they were telling us we need to either leave it there or drink it there and then, and it was too much to drink there and then. We're like, oh, we had no idea, sorry, we didn't know. Okay, we'll just go back there and try and find someone to give these beers to. And then he went off and spoke to his manager, and the manager came back and was like, you know what, just make sure you don't do it again. And they do this head gesture like, you know, it's okay. And I'm not taking the mick. I honestly find that head gesture now, every time I see it, I'm just kind of like, I feel kind of comforted by it. It's really weird. I see someone do this, oh, it's okay, and I just think instantly like, oh, like you're seeing me as a human being with flaws and you're forgiving me for it. Like not quite to that extent, but more like, oh, you get me, you understand me, you know, we're both the same inside. You're not using your position in power to kind of make me feel bad. You're letting me off the hook. And there's quite a lot of occasions where this would happen, and it's be on a regular basis. Yes, this place seems like it has no rules, there's no regulations, no safety regulations for sure, it's dirty, polluted, but the people every single time will be forgiving and heartwarming and welcoming, and they will always smile, which is something so lovely to see. And I just really appreciated that. And there were some days where I would feel quite low, and if that kind of thing would happen, instantly it would just lift my mood and make my day a lot better. This place is extremely spiritual. I think spirituality is extremely important for our soul and our well-being, and it's something we've kind of lost over the years, especially being in Western societies. So it's nice to see Hinduism so celebrated, and it's so fun. They would have celebrations going on all the time on the streets. You hear music. They have like a Burning Man kind of festival where they burn these huge gigantic men and they set off loads of fireworks, Diwali, that kind of stuff. It's incredible, and you see these temples everywhere, you see sadhus everywhere wearing like just a piece of cloth, no shoes. They're really practicing this religion and is taking it to heart, and everyone takes it so serious. Like, no, it's not all just about buying things and stuff. It's not all about status and how you appear to everyone else. It's about looking inwardly and assessing yourself and what your values are. And that's something I found incredibly uplifting to see, and it's surprising that I thought this way, because it's something I'd never really been exposed to on such a large scale. So for me to be in the midst of all of that, it's nice. I felt a part of it as well. It's really nice. Okay, so another part of India that I absolutely love is there's colours everywhere. The bright and the loud. Everything about Indian culture is bright and loud and in your face, and that includes their clothes. Yes, women have to wear a certain type of clothing traditionally. Nowadays it doesn't matter if they wear trousers or something like that, as long as they're kind of covered up, especially in their shoulders, you know. But they tend to wear these beautiful, beautiful outfits, are just bright, popping colours. Not only from their outfits are they wearing these beautiful, beautiful colours, but you know, they get the festivals where they throw the powders in the air, and then you get covered in pinks and blues and greens and yellows and all these beautiful, beautiful colours. I guess the biggest thing you can take away from being in India is noticing they take the fun and they exemplify it. They're like, let's celebrate life. We are here to enjoy it. Let's celebrate in the best way possible. I'm gonna be loud. I'm gonna toot my horn if I want to. I'm not going to think too harshly of myself if I do something wrong. I'm just gonna correct it and go along with my day, because life is too short to, you know, dwell on these kind of things. So you find Indian people are weirdly confident. They're just all really confident in themselves and in their skin, which I love. They just want to enjoy life. They'll make things super loud. They take things to the extreme. They will dress in the brightest colours, and they'll have the biggest celebrations. Although you do get the bad, you also get the really, really good with it. So this is why I do recommend going to India. This is something I want to go back. Actually, I really want to go back to India, because I kind of went through the north of India. I didn't really explore the south of India, and that's something I really want to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a bit different from my other ones. I will be resuming with my making of clothes probably in my next video, so stick around for that. Bye.